All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to tackle a huge idea. What if that retirement date you have circled in your head isn't actually set in stone? We're going to walk through a blueprint that shows how a whole lot of Australians could, hang up the work boots years, and I mean years, earlier than they think.
So let's think about this for a second. The number 67. It's kind of drilled into our heads, right? It's the finish line, the age you finally get the age pension. For so many of us, it just feels like that's it. That's the mandatory age you have to work until. But what if that's just a big misunderstanding? What if there's another way to play the game?
Okay, here it is. This quote is the whole reason we're doing this explainer. It's a pretty massive claim from financial experts who literally run these numbers every day. And the most important words on this screen? Already available. This isn't some secret, complicated loophole for the super rich. It's all about just understanding the rules that exist for everyone right now.
To even think about making this a reality, you first have to know how the game is played. This is not about crossing your fingers and hoping for the best. Nope, it's about strategy. And that strategy all begins with getting your head around two very different, very important dates.
First up, your preservation age. This is the first magic number. It's the age when the government finally says, okay, that giant nest egg of super you've been building for decades, you can start accessing it now. Now, depending on when you were born, this is going to be somewhere between 55 and 60.
And the other date is the one we all know, the age pension age, which is 67. Now, here's the thing that so many people get mixed up. They think these two numbers are basically the same thing. They are absolutely not. The age pension is a government safety net. Your superannuation is your money, and you can get to it much, much earlier. That little bit of daylight between those two dates, well, that's where the entire opportunity for early retirement is hiding.
So this brings us right to the heart of the problem. But let's reframe it. Let's call it the freedom gap. It's a simple concept, really. It's just the period of time between the day you decide to stop working for good and the day you can actually get your hands on your retirement money.
This timeline makes it super clear. Let's just say you want to call it a day on full-time work at age 58. Fantastic. But, and here's the catch, your preservation age, the day you can touch your super, isn't until you're 60. See that? That's a 2-year gap. The entire secret, the whole game of retiring early, is just figuring out how to pay for your life during those gap years. So the big question is, how on earth do you actually do that? Well, it turns out there's a whole toolkit of financial levers you can pull. These aren't theories, they're proven strategies, using the Australian system as it stands, all designed to build a bridge across that freedom gap.
Lever number 1. And honestly, this is the most critical one to understand. You have to build income streams outside of your super. Why? It's simple. You can touch this money anytime you want. Super is locked away in a vault until your preservation age. But things like investment bonds, or a portfolio of shares that pays you dividends, or a rental property that brings in cash, that's money you can live on before you can officially retire. This is the absolute foundation.
Lever number 2 is to go hard on maximizing your super. Why? Because it's probably the single most tax-friendly investment vehicle we have in Australia. This means using all the tools in the shed. For instance, making concessional contributions. Sounds fancy, but all it means is you're putting in pre-tax dollars. That lowers your taxable income right now, and it turbocharges your retirement savings for later. It's a total win-win. And there are other tricks too, like using carry-forward rules if you've had a few lean years.
Okay, let's move to our next lever. This one's a bit more advanced, but wow, is it powerful. First, we need to get one thing straight. Not all debt is bad. In fact, from a tax perspective, there are two very different kinds of debt. Your home mortgage is non-deductible. You pay for it with money that's already been taxed. But debt that you use to buy an asset that produces income, like shares or property, is deductible. That means you can claim the interest against your income at tax time. See the difference? It's huge. And that brings us to a clever strategy called debt recycling. I know, it sounds super complex, but the idea is actually pretty straightforward. You systematically pay down your bad home loan debt. Then you redraw that extra money you've paid, but you use it to buy good, income-producing investments. And just like that, you've magically converted a non-deductible debt into a tax-deductible one. Now, to be clear, this involves taking on investment risk, and it's something you should absolutely get professional advice on.
Okay, last lever. Once you're finally retired, how you draw down your money is just as important as how you saved it. A really smart way to think about this is the 3-bucket approach. Bucket 1 is for the short term. Your next couple years of living expenses. It's just cash, super safe, no stress. Bucket 2 is for the medium term, with some growth assets. And bucket 3 is for the long haul. That's your super and other long-term investments. This structure helps you ride out market bumps without being forced to sell your growth assets at the wrong time.
Phew! We have covered a lot of ground. So let's just take a breath, strip away all the financial jargon, and boil this all down to what you really, truly need to know. What's the bottom line? If you only remember 3 things from this whole explainer, make it these. 1, you must solve that income gap problem. It's the key that unlocks everything else. 2, getting smart about tax isn't just a nice to have. It's just as important as your investment returns. And 3, this is not a set and forget plan. Life happens, markets go up and down, and your plan has to be a living thing that you adjust along the way.
So what's the big prize for getting all this right? According to the financial modeling that this is all based on, a really well-thought-out plan could bring your retirement forward by 5 to 10 years. Just let that sink in. Not 5 months, 5 to 10 years of your life back. That isn't just a small change. That's a completely different life.
So we'll end on this thought. Your retirement date isn't some fixed point on the horizon that you have no control over. It's a variable. It's a number that you might be able to change. The strategies exist. The rules are in place. The only question left is, what's your next move?